Get started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name's Greg and I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Yaguara, and I'm accompanied by JD, our Head of Marketing. Super excited to show you our reports feature today, which we've been working on for the past few months. This is something that we built because we found that brands and agencies were really having a hard time sharing data and performance with their teams. Generally, a typical process for this involves diving into all of your various tools like Shopify, Facebook ads, Google AdWords, taking screenshots of the relevant data, and then loading them into something like a Google Slides to create a presentation. We find this process to be very time consuming and can also lead to some confusion since those screenshots of data instantly become stale and can't be updated. With our reports, you're able to build presentations with visualizations that update in real time, key results to show progress towards your goals, and various content blocks to give additional context and share any takeaways that you may have. So what we'll do here today is I'll start by giving an overview of the report builder and all the different building blocks. We'll walk through a couple of use cases, and then we'll finish up talking about some roadmap items that are coming up and answering any questions that you may have. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen. Okay, so here we have our reports. I'll open up a new report here just to kind of go over the report builder. So what you'll see here going across the top, there's a spot to enter your title. For sharing the report with your team, for navigating the different pages, entering present mode, and then performing report actions like duplicating or deleting. When it comes to sharing your report, you can share it with either the full company, individual groups, or individual team members here. For each member, you can give edit or view access. And if they only have view access, then they can only see the report in present mode. Present mode here is useful for when you're sharing your screen, walking through the report with your team. Basically, it hides the editor elements, shows the different pages, and allows you to navigate through those. Reports are built using pages and blocks, which you'll see here on the left-hand side. To add pages, you can just click on the Pages tab. We'll just call this page 1. We can add a page, page 2. We'll add a page, page 3. These can be sorted in any order that you'd like, just by dragging and dropping to reorder them. If you'd like to delete a page, you can just hover over it, hit this trash icon here, and then hit delete. To add blocks to pages, it's simple, just drag and drop into the position that you want it to be in. We have certain content elements like headings for adding different sections. We have a text block here for adding any rich text that you can format with bold, italic, having different heading sizes, block quotes, entering any list items here. This is good when you want to add any additional context to any performance or data that you're reporting on. So you could say our takeaways. And then we have image blocks here. This is useful if we wanted to upload maybe a different type of ad that we're testing. We can choose to upload it from our computer or embed a link. Under the visualization section here, this is where we're going to show the real-time data from the different integrations that we have connected. We have 4 different types of visualization. We have a number visualization, a line and bar chart, pie chart, and table chart. So when we pull these in, we can then select which metric we'd like to visualize here by selecting our integration first, then our metric, and we can filter down on this data, to get more granular. So if I wanted to see, website users for a specific campaign, then I can filter down by one or many options here. For number charts and line and bar charts, we have the option to show the delta. So if I wanted to show the amount for this month, but also show what it was compared to last month, I can show that. And then we can see that here, and this number is updating in real time. So if I come back tomorrow, this number will be updated for me. I don't have to take another screenshot, for example, and re-upload that. Show an example here for a line chart. Again, same metric selector here. And now we can show that time series data, over time, over days or months or weeks, depending on what date range you want to choose here. Pie charts are useful if we want to show different segments. So if I want to show my traffic by campaigns, I can select that. And then I can select the campaign option once it shows up here. And it looks like it's not showing up. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Table charts is useful for showing, certain breakdowns. So if I have, Facebook ads and I want to show my campaigns broken down by, one or many different metrics here. Spend, clicks, and reach. And then I can show this, and these columns are then sortable as well. For key results, so Yaguara is kind of built on the OKR framework. So this is important when we're setting goals. We can have targets, ranges, or achievement key results. So we can then report on those performance items just by selecting the key result for the specific objective. And then we have a couple options here. We can show the progress chart, which shows our progress towards our target goal. And we can also show any annotations that may have been recorded on this key result. You can see here, this is our conversions goal. We exceeded it. We can see our progress towards our goal when we hit our goal. And then we can see annotation on September 16th when we launched a new marketing campaign. That's kind of the overview here of the builder and the different elements. So what we'll do now is walk through a couple of different use cases where you may want to use reports. One of these use cases is a paid acquisition report. Talking about the different key results, the different goals that we have set up for our paid media team. You can see customer acquisition costs. We have a range key result here that we're trying to stay in between. And we can see our add to carts from all of our paid channels. We exceeded that by 38. Coming down here, you'll see a pie chart for our customer acquisition metrics here, filtered by the different mediums. And then we have a table showing the top campaigns here. And again, going back to adding that kind of additional context around the data, being able to show or explain what we're seeing here and what we can do to improve.
Yeah, I think to jump in here, to talk about sort of some of the use cases is, in regards to giving paid acquisition updates, this is ultimately eliminating the constant skipping from login to dashboard to login to dashboard on the fly, and depending on how complex your suite of ads or even campaigns are, it's just a lot of clicking around just to present a just the number, just like the actual result. Yeah, so I think in the past, what we've seen is, if you're presenting to your team, you're head of the paid acquisition team. You get everybody in the room or on a Zoom meeting, and then you're bringing up specific dashboard, filtering results on the fly, changing dates depending on what people are asking, which is always just a dangerous game of everyone just waiting for metrics to populate. And then if there's any custom data, you're having to jump in, whether it's like combined revenue or like return on ad spend across like all your accounts. You're jumping into a Google Sheet or Excel to show like these kind of ad hoc combined formulas. So that's just another dashboard, another screen you're switching to just to show data, which is pretty exciting to keep it all in one place. We've got our top metrics function, so you can pull in all of that like custom data into one place and into this report for paid acquisition. And keep in mind when you're doing all of this, and sharing it like kind of the old way, sharing screenshots and logging into dashboards, you're not sharing any notes or text or anything. You're kind of having to like do it on the fly, like audibly. I think being able to, have right around the takeaways, like give context to all of these like campaigns and paid acquisition for people to be able to digest that right in one place inside the report is very critical, rather than having to, mentally remember everything they're seeing kind of in the old way of presenting. So yeah, thanks, Greg.
Yeah, thanks, JD. This is just kind of an example of a multi-page report here. So we can talk about, our performance and then go into a little bit more detail into specific kind of campaign breakdown. Again, this is all data pulling from Facebook ads and Google AdWords. And then like JD mentioned, adding those takeaways, adding that context to what we're seeing and, how we can kind of improve on that. So we'll go ahead and look at another example here. Here's an example of, a monthly marketing report. Again, where we're, giving a recap of, what happened over the previous month, different marketing initiatives. Here's a good example of utilizing the image block. So welcoming a teammate. We'd love to, introduce Sarah to the content marketing team. And then showing some social growth here. So pulling from our Instagram integration, we can see over time the number of profile views and impressions here. And then again, going back to those kind of OKRs, like what were the goals that we had set for ourselves for this month? Did we achieve them? Did we exceed? Did we fall short anywhere? And then what can we do, in the coming month to kind of improve on that?
Yeah, I think with, you can call it like department or team updates, whatever it might be recurring. It could be weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually even. This might be the most ad hoc scattered approach prior to doing something like Yaguara's reports, because it's combining a lot of quantitative and qualitative information in one place. So, often that took the form of like a PowerPoint or maybe like an email or some type of presentation to the team. It was a game of screenshotting, copying and pasting, honestly spending most of the time formatting it just so that it is presented just nicely to the people trying to consume this department report. And then the other thing to take note is I think we all know that it's always a mad scramble at the last day of whatever this interval is, just to present to the team, because that's, it's kind of the promised recurring activity. So I think, I kind of talked about the quantitative and qualitative. It's, what's one of the more important pieces of this functionality is a little bit less about the data in my mind, and more about all the wide ranging context that needs to be shared with your team. It's, sort of like the examples we've put in here. It could be new hires, new images and designs, and there's just like really long write-ups and maybe stream of consciousness thoughts that just help better tell the story of what's happening in your, like that month for your marketing team, or whatever, your operations team, customer team. It's important to, of course, have the real-time data in there, but then kind of sharing like the story around this simultaneously is an important piece. So the plug and play option of that kind of lets you write the chapters a little easier.
Great, thanks, JD. Then we'll take a look at our final example. This is more targeted for agencies. So when you're working with clients, generally you'll set goals, and then you'll perform your tests, and then you'll want to have to report on that performance. There we have an example here, just kind of like an ongoing client update, talking about wins for the quarter. Again, those key results, what were the goals that were set with the client, at the beginning of the quarter? Did we hit those, and why? And then another kind of common thing for agencies is, listing out the next steps. Like, okay, what are we going to do this month? Here's some ads that we're going to test. Here's some, campaigns that, email campaigns that we're going to run. Here's copy or creative that we're going to run tests through. And this is something that, again, is what we've seen with agencies is generally repeated on a, bi-weekly or monthly basis. And again, going back to that time savings, agencies that we've worked with have spent so much time building out these reports every couple of weeks. But with this, we can just, build out this structure, and then we're able to just duplicate this report, change some date ranges, change some of the text, around that context, and then, we're good to go. So we go from, several hours of building report into, half an hour maybe, or a few minutes.
Yeah, basically piggybacking off of that, we all have worked with third parties and external groups. It's the huge time saver. It's I'm sure we all have horror stories of like the 50+ email reply exchanges. And you have to go up to the 23rd one to find a screenshot or like a number. So there's no, it's eliminating as much as you can of the black box between information sharing. There's no double checking like the ad accounts. Maybe if someone's offline, it's really just eliminating all of that sort of like meaningless exchange back and forth, and just really talking about results and strategy, which is what people want to be doing with sort of like a client vendor relationship. So yeah, it's one of our major upgrades to our growing agency offering, and sort of one of their primary use cases, what Greg's talking about.
Right, thanks, JD. Yeah, so that kind of does it for the different kind of use cases that we had. Just to talk on a couple of things that are coming. We're currently working on exporting. So being able to, export these reports to a PDF, and being able to then, email those out to your team members, or if you're an agency, email those out to your client as well. And then another thing we're working on is templates. So, excuse me. So being able to build out a report and then save that as a template that you and your team can, access, over and over again. Okay, so I think we'll get into some questions. I think we have a couple that rolled in here.
Let's see, let's start with this. Yeah. One of the questions, what are the permission options for clients? Can they be read-only, etc.? Greg, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So right now we have the permissions when you share a report. So if I come back here, for each person that's added to a report, we have the edit or view option. So if they have the view option selected, when they come in to see this report, they'll only see it in present mode. So they won't have any of the editing options here. They won't be able to drag or drop or move anything around, and they'll just be able to navigate and view the different pages of the report.
Awesome. All right. Got another one here. Can these reports be scheduled to send? It's a good roadmap question. It's for the chief product officer. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's something that will have to come up after the exporting to PDF. So first step in this is getting it to export to PDF. And then after that, we'll set up a type of scheduling where you can set that to a weekly basis, a monthly basis, bi-weekly, and enter in any emails, email addresses of your team or anything like that that you would want to send to on that basis.
Coming soon. All right, looks like we got one more here. Can we embed video files? There we go. Video is huge, we know. So, not today.
Not today. We'll continue to definitely add and expand to the available blocks here. So a video embed would be under the content section here. We're definitely going to add some more Yaguara element blocks here. So being able to show things like completed to-dos, having maybe custom like product blocks showing a product from Shopify that shows sales, number of units purchased, and things like that. But yes, these blocks will always be expanding. These are kind of just the core ones that we started with.
Awesome. Maybe give about a couple more seconds if anybody wants to ask anything else here. It's at the bottom of your Zoom screen, the Q&A. Okay, we got another one here. What tool or tools do you think this will replace? I guess it's case by case here. Let's see. Yeah, I'll take a stab at this one, Greg, and you can follow
Sure.
up here. I think this is ultimately trying to eliminate a lot of the ad hoc systems. So instead of creating another sheet, another email template, another you can call it just like another Google slide or PowerPoint. It's trying to get that to live closer to like the real world places that you're working in. And, for those using Yaguara, this is where your goals live. This is where your data lives. This is where your visualization and being able to present right beside it rather than having to head to another place or even invest into maybe some type of like reporting type of tool. It's just a little out of the way. So a big part of this was being able to do this here and presenting here rather than having to once again jump to somewhere else. I don't know if there's any specific ones you had in mind, Greg, but that's kind of where we've seen a lot of value with people using it.
Yeah, I think you touched on a few of them. It's like Google Slides, PowerPoints, spreadsheets in some cases. Some of these dashboarding tools where it's just the data, but no context is being able to add to it.
All right, got one more here and we'll probably cap it at this one. Let's see. How many reports can you create and how many people can they be shared with? So some capacity and limit questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so number of reports, it's unlimited. Number of people that they can be shared with. again, is, if they're in the Yaguara workspace, you can share with, as many as you want. So unlimited.
Perfect. I love it. All right. I think we'll move on from the Q&A. Thanks everybody for bringing those in. Let's see. That is about all we have for today. Unless you want to talk about anything else, Greg, in terms of roadmap or functionality. If not, I think I'm good on my side.
Yeah, no, I think we covered it all.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're going to be sending a recording of this to, of course, all the attendees, everybody that joined here today, and it's going to be accessible whenever you want, as well as tons of ongoing documentation and help around this. So this is not the only time to see reports live, and of course, one of the best ways to understand reports more is diving in the Yaguara workspace. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining, and thanks Greg for running us through that.
Thank you, everyone.